What is up guys, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to talk about Arsenal's transfer market in 2016 and 17 season. So obviously Arsenal had a little bit of disappointing and also a pretty impressive season. They obviously came second, which is pretty good for Arsenal. They obviously beat Tottenham in the last game, which obviously a lot of Arsenal fans are happy about. So without further ado, let's get into the players that Arsenal I think should sell. So starting with this one, it's probably the most obvious one, and it is gonna be Theo Walcott. Like, he made some few impacts, like against, for example, Leicester. He scored that equalizer. Oh, he's not in my club. Concept plays. There we go. Obviously not the most promising, and Walcott himself would probably want some more game time at some club. So I think Walcott is going to be that player that's just going to go out, and Arsenal would like to get rid of him anyway, because he's kind of inconsistent and he gets injured a lot, and Arsenal don't really like that. And the other player I think Arsenal should sell is Kieran Gibbs, who I believe hasn't played too much for Arsenal. Obviously Monreal was the replacement for Kieran Gibbs, and so Kieran Gibbs again wants himself might want to like look for a better club. I've heard some transfer news about him. And then moving on, it's gonna be David Ospina. Like, he moved into the Arsenal last season. So what I mean by that, 14-15 season, and he put out some really solid performance. He made some good saves in the Copa America as well and in the World Cup. But obviously Petr Cech came last season, which meant that he had nowhere to go. So he had no game experience, so when he did come on, he didn't play very well, and it's not his fault because he didn't have much game time to you get used to. So I think I've heard a lot of rumors that he's gonna go to Besiktas from Turkey club, I believe. Yeah, one of the Turkish clubs. I think it is a possible transfer, and Ospina I think might go to get some more game time and be the first for the Colombian squad. And the next player I think is gonna go, I don't think he's gonna go completely, but it's gonna be Callum Chambers. Now obviously once again hasn't played, so I think he's going to be very good on loan. Probably get some experience on, I don't know, probably some of the Premier League, lower Premier League clubs he can go loan on, and then get some experience, because Arsenal don't really need him right now. What Arsenal need right now is some experienced centre back. Koscielny is good, but sometimes it feels like he's kind of left out. So Arsenal definitely do need a new striker. I mean a centre back, and they also need a striker. And speaking of strikers, we're gonna start off with striker, and this guy is kind of fresh new. And then when I first heard about this rumor, I was quite surprised. It's Jamie Vardy, and then some of the sources said that Jamie Vardy is going to go to Arsenal, and I wasn't too sure about that, because I think Vardy's getting to his old age. I think he was going to be loyal to his club, which is Leicester. And Gary Lineker did say to Vardy not to go to Arsenal, just stay at Leicester. But for Vardy himself, like, I don't think Leicester's going to do that well next season. I mean, there's obviously opinions varies. Some people think Leicester's still going to do pretty well next season, but I've heard a lot of rumors that a lot of Leicester City players are going to leave. So I think Vardy could possibly be one of them. And at Cam, who's going to be there. There's only one player who can be at Cam for Arsenal, and it's Mesut Ozil. Fabulous performance. What the heck? Yep, I just thought that he didn't have a face. But anyway, he had a pretty good season last season. Obviously got 19 assists. So close to beating that Thierry Henry's record. Obviously Giroud weren't just able to finish his dinner once again. Like, if you look at the season total, Giroud got 16 goals, and you might think, wait, 16 goals, that's not too bad. Then why is everyone hating Giroud? Like, why is Arsenal fans not liking Giroud? Because he scored 16 goals, which is more than some players like Diego Costa, Jermaine Defoe, exact examples. Can't speak today. But anyway, he's a bit inconsistent. He hasn't scored for like 14-15 games in a row, and he just banged in the hat-trick at the last game. So I think consistent striker, someone like Vardy, might work pretty well. And order to Vardy, I've heard some news about Aubameyang might go to Arsenal, but I don't really see that very likely because I think Aubameyang's going to be loyal to his club and then stay at Dortmund for a few more seasons, and then he might leave somewhere else. I don't know. And there's also some news about Alvaro Morata, and if Arsenal do manage to sign him, it's going to be a pretty decent signing. But again, he hasn't, like everyone, I think Morata is that overrated player. Some people might disagree, but I think he's a bit overrated player. Like everyone says he's a good player, like I think everyone thinks he's good because he scored in important games, which is what Arsenal need. They need someone to score in important big games. But then Morata himself only scored 16 goals and 16 assists, which is, if you think about it, it's not too great. I mean, not 16 goals, 7 goals and 7 assists, which is not as good as you think. Like you expect him to be much more better. So I think Morata himself might want to stay at Juventus and then, you know, maybe get some more goals like Dybala or something, maybe get over like 15 goals, and then he might go to some bigger clubs like Real Madrid. Like if Morata goes to Real Madrid now, he's obviously going to be out. He's going to be in the bench. Benzema's definitely going to play. And on the right mid, now this is a bit controversial one because there's heaps of players on right mid. I obviously said that Walcott is going to leave. There's players like Iwobi, there's like Chamberlain, there's also Campbell. I'm going to put Campbell in this instance, but to be honest, I have no idea who is going to play out of Campbell, Joel Campbell, Chamberlain and Iwobi. I don't know which one of them is really going to play. But moving on to the CDM or centre mid, I'm not too sure, position, we got the fresh player that Arsenal have signed, and I think this is a very, very impressive move by Arsenal to sign this Xhaka, the Swiss guy, and it looks like a very decent player. He obviously is not the person that's gonna just score from long range and be like Yaya Toure, score a lot of goals, but I think he's gonna be a promising player. It's just gonna be solid in midfield, someone who Arsenal needs. And then following up, we got Ramsey. Now speaking of the central players that Arsenal got, the problem with Arsenal is that, wait, they got two, you might think they got too many centre mids. If you think about it, they just signed El Neni last January transfer, and then they also signed, I mean, well, they had it before, but they have Coquelin, they have Jack Wilshere, and they got a decent players, and then they will all have to stay on the bench. Someone like Coquelin, who's been very decent, someone like Wilshere, who's got a lot of potential, someone like El Neni, who's got the amazing goal against Barcelona. They all got potential. And then obviously Arsenal, I'm not trying to be like mean or anything, their players get injured a lot. So I guess, you know, their squad may be a bit too overloaded. I think Wenger's a bit, you know, he's a bit, not James Rodriguez, it's the other Rodriguez. It is Ricardo Rodriguez. This one, the left back, 83 rated Rodriguez, and he is connected with Arsenal as well. And I think Ricardo Rodriguez would be a good player. Ricardo Rodriguez himself might want to go to Arsenal because Wolfsburg obviously didn't make it to any of the European competition this year, which means, wow, Koscielny will go for the 86 rated one. But anyway, we got Koscielny here. We're just going to switch him around. And Koscielny, as I said, he's that player that's a bit left out in my opinion. And I think someone like Koulibaly, someone like Manolas, or even someone, you know, probably not as, spelled his name wrong, but someone not as big named as them, but someone like, for example, Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk would be a very good choice. And by the way, Koulibaly is not French. He's from, I don't know, I forgot the country. I think it's Senegal. He changed the nation, I don't know why, because he would be absolutely amazing for France, and France really needed the centre back considering how many players got injured and went out of French squad. Now France got someone like Rami for the Euros. I'm not too sure how they're going to do. But anyway, moving on to the right back, and here again there's only one choice, Bellerin, if I can find him. obviously a very solid player for Arsenal once again, and you know, he got a team of the season as well because he played really well. And you know, all Arsenal's got to do is to keep him from Barcelona. I've seen few rumors about Bellerin might go to Barcelona. I don't think it's really going to happen, to be honest. And in the goalkeeper position, there's the mighty Petr Cech. Amazing player, used to play for Chelsea, now he's at Arsenal, and he is still as good. And you know, he's just an amazing keeper. You just gotta admit it. Petr Cech made some few very good saves, and then you know, he's just better than Szczesny and Ospina. That's why Ospina is going to leave. And moving on to the subs, obviously, if I think Ospina is definitely gonna leave, so I think the replacement for him would be Fraser Forster, who is English, which is good because, you know, obviously in BPL there's like homegrown stuff, really big stuff, you know, and that's obviously a problem for some clubs, like for instance Chelsea, Man City doesn't really have a lot of English players, unlike Liverpool, Leicester City, Tottenham. They got a lot of English players, but I don't think that's really a problem for Arsenal. But if they do manage to sign Fraser Forster, that would be amazing. Fraser Forster might want some, you know, more challenges, or he might want to, you know, have a more chance of winning some more competition. And the player over here is going to be Gabriel, keeping in the bench as well. Is it this guy? I think, yep, it is this guy, the Brazilian centre back from Arsenal. Obviously not the best player, I have got to admit. Like, I haven't really seen him play a lot because he doesn't really play a lot, but he's not as promising. Like, if Arsenal wants to go for the title and want to do better in Champions League, they need someone better, someone like Manolas, Murillo, maybe Benatia is connected, Koulibaly, who I put in. And yeah, and moving on, obviously I said there was a lot of problem with Arsenal's overloaded midfield, and starting with Coquelin, he's a very solid player. He's French, he just does the job. Like, he just came out of nowhere and then he just played amazing. So I think he doesn't really deserve to leave the club because he's obviously got the future like Wilshere. To be honest, I'm not too sure about Wilshere because, you know, he gets injured too much, and then he's got a lot of problems. Like, for example, he stuck up a root finger last season or last season at the Man City fans. He does smoking, like, I don't know, he does all the bad stuff. He did a bad chant to Spurs fan once. So I'm not sure if Wilshere's really gonna stay, but you know, Arsenal might keep him just for, you know, his talent and stuff. And the next player is gonna be the winger replacement, someone like Chamberlain. I think Iwobi's doing really well as well, so I think I'm mistaken Iwobi in the bench instead. Yep, Iwobi. Oh gosh, 55 rated, because he shouldn't be, because he's been pretty good last season for Arsenal. And then, you know, he's one of the players that just came out of nowhere as well. And over here, I think it's going to be Olivier Giroud. Now, controversy, but he's got to stay because, you know, he just does the job sometimes. Sometimes Giroud is the player that we need. So, for example, if sometimes Vardy may not work, his pace may not work, then Giroud, someone like Giroud, who's got a powerful shot, he's good in air, so he could be the game changer. Giroud definitely could be the game changer. I'm not sure how he's going to do at Euros, but he's still the player that Arsenal needs. And moving on, for the last player, it's going to be Chamberlain here. Oh, and I forgot to speak about Debussy. Oh no, I can't spell his name. Ox. It's always complicated because you have to write Ox first. You can't write Chamberlain. But anyway, we got the Ninja Turtle here. And moving on to the reserves, I think someone like Mertesacker is going to be in it because he obviously hasn't been the best player. He's getting old and he's making a lot of mistakes, even though he's I'm not saying that he's bad, but he's making more and more mistakes, and I think it's time for a replacement for Arsenal to make. And I think that will do for today's video on this Arsenal squad. If you agree or not, let me know down in the comment section below. But this is some of the signings. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and goodbye.